This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. Christian, thank you. Xyris the Writhing Storm versus Kemba Regent, Sen Triplets, and Bruna, Light of Alabaster. Yeah, we're pretty likely to get into a green source in this deck, and we can go Chasm Skulker on turn 3 into Font of Mythos. I'm actually going to keep that one. It's not incredible, but we draw a card on the first turn in multiplayer at least. Oh, and there we go. We get into a green source immediately, so that's really good. We all begin our turns with tap lands. There's a Locust tap land here, Myriad Landscape, and a Ganjo Castle. Do we ramp or Sylvan Library? I think the best thing to do is ramp, so let's go for the 3 visits, and we can get our tri-land out. Lightning Greaves coming in from Bruna, followed by a Wayfarer's Bauble from the Sen Triplets player, and Viridian Longbow from the Kemba player. We get into a mana drain. I think we save the Font of Mythos for now, because we are drawing quite well. Let's drop the island, and we'll go in for a Chasm Skulker. I'm just thinking of playing around Magic Online, to be honest. We do have wheels in this deck, and I don't want to put too many triggers on the stack, like we did with Bralin and Shabraz, because it kills the client, but yeah, we'll go for Chasm Skulker anyway. A Swiftfoot Boots for some redundancy, apparently. Hopefully, yeah, the artifacts don't get wiped. They've actually switched off their own equipments there, so yeah, anyway, they went for Stony Silence and switched off their own equipments. They switched off the Wayfarer's Bauble and probably all of Kemba's deck with that, to be honest. Anyway, looks as though Sen Triplets is just holding up mana for the Myriad Landscape. Playing against 3 randoms today, by the way, because there were no patrons available to play. I have come on quite early in the morning, UK time, which is the middle of the night for a lot of patrons. And then curiously, the mono white player deciding to not play Kemba. We draw a card at the beginning of the turn, get straight into the mana rock that we can't make use of. That would have been really good. Anyway, we've got a land to make at least. Let's go for... yeah, that would have been really good. I think we could have gone for Sylvan Library and our commander. Anyhow, speaking of our commander, why don't we just try that? And then we'll swing in at Bruna to show our opponents that we don't care for the Stony Silence. I imagine everyone's looking in towards them anyway. And there we go, our commander already eats some removal from the Sen Triplets player, Swords to Plowshares. An Ancient Tomb has come down from Bruna as well, so deciding not to go for the Myriad Landscape, clearly. Then obviously they get round to their turn. They went for the swords at the end of Bruna's turn, cracking the Myriad Landscape now. Leonin Abunis from the... I wonder if this is Cat Tribal then. I mean, that works well in their deck because they want to cast a lot of equipments, and probably rocks to ramp with as well. But it might be that this is a Cat Tribal deck. We'll just go for the Sylvan Library, and we'll have to hold up the Mana Crypt, I think. Then we'll go in at the Sen Triplets player for taking out our commander. Field of the Dead coming down after Bruna just passes through the turn. And they've got the mana for their Sen Triplets. And they cast it straight. This isn't uncounterable or anything like that, is it? Nope, it is not. So we get 5 free mana next turn. Keeping each other's commanders out of play nicely there. We'll probably recast ours next turn with that 5 mana that we get. And now Kemba comes down from the Kemba player. And they've got Urza's Mine as well, so they do have Tron in the deck. Don't know if White has too many good means of fishing those out. Anyway, we're going to get some more plus counters on the Chasm Skulker this turn because we are going to draw with Sylvan Library. I'll probably keep all 3 cards off of the library. Alright, well, we've got our first wheel of the game. So is there much point in keeping... Yeah, we need 4 generic mana, and then 1, 2, 3, we'll have 1 floating. That'll be 4 mana we'll have left for a Font of Mythos. So yeah, I think we'll just keep all of these in that case. Not going to go for Windfall this turn. Get ourselves into our commander, like I said, and then we'll try and get some value out of it, even if it does eat removal. I mean, someone might have removal for it at the end of our turn, but if at least some of our opponents draw some cards with the Font of Mythos, we'll get some snakes at least. And then let's go back in at the Sen Triplets player. They seem to be doing the most so far. Font of Mythos draws Bruna a couple more cards, and they do need them to get into the colours they need. They don't have blue yet. They've been missing lands. And then, obviously, per card our opponent draws, we get a snake. Another white source from Bruna. They're not having the best of luck over there. Just passing the turn yet again. And they've discarded Daybreak Coronet. It is Utter End, and that is Exile, so... Yeah, that doesn't trigger on Leave the Battlefield, it is Destroy, so... Chasm Skulker is no longer an issue. A Nevinrael's Disc from the mono-white Equipments player now. We don't need to worry about that until this thing is gone. Yeah, Stony Silence. Not really sure why they played that, to be honest. It doesn't seem to have... Yeah, done them much good so far, although they will keep their board intact. Because Nevinrael's Disc can't go off, like I said. We get a couple more cards from the Font of Mythos and some from the Sylvan Library as well, potentially. I'd like some haste at this point, or a means of buffing our snakes, maybe. Alright. A Mystical Tutor could be good. I say we put the Dragon Mage on top. Let's put Sakura Tribe Elder back on top as well. And then we'll shuffle those away with the Wooded Foothills. And we'll go in for a Tiger. And now I think it is... Yeah, I think it's Eternal Witness. And we'll grab ourselves back that mana drain. Then we will probably play and equip the Skull Clamp to a snake at the end of combat. But we'll swing in this at the Equipments player, because we haven't hit them yet. And then we'll swing all of these in at the Sen Triplets player, because I really don't like the idea of them taking all of our cards away from us. We deal 3 damage to the white player, so we will get 3 snakes, and they will draw 3 cards. And there we go, we get into a buff for our snakes, so that might be good next turn if we can keep this board intact. So let's play the Clamp. Oh, and of course we can't equip it, can we? Well, we can discard the Anger at least. Yeah, I completely forgot about the Stony Silence there. So we can hold up Mystical Tutor and Mana Drain, and we will definitely discard Anger, as well as a Forest. And our friend Bruna over here has finally gotten into a blue source. So there we are, a Supreme Verdict cannot be countered. Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. Well, can't be countered, nothing we can do about that. There's no kind of trickery we can do, is there? Might be worth a Mystical Tutor to get rid of this so we can make use of Skull Clamp, but then we switch this back on again. Yeah, well, we'll just have the board wiped anyway. Then a Containment Priest of a non-token creature would enter, and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Yeah, we're not worried about any kind of reanimation in this deck. Sen Triplets is 1 land away, of a different name, from starting to trigger the Field of the Dead. So they just keep a full grip of 8 and pass the turn. And discard a Read the Bones. Teo the Shield Mage. Don't think I've ever seen anyone play this one. You have Hexproof and you can create a wall token. Then a Leonin Sky Hunter. Yeah, that points me in the direction of mono white cat tribal, because we've seen 3 Leonins so far, including the commander. Now then, let's go for a Mystical Tutor. We're going to draw a lot of cards this turn, so I don't feel too bad about going for Mystical Tutor. Let's go for Kodama's Reach on top. And we get into Lightning Greaves. We've already got haste and we can't equip that anyway. Mystic Sanctuary will really annoy our opponents with this mana drain. We need 3 islands, I think. And we do have 3 islands with the Tri and Dual Land. So let's put Lightning Greaves back. And I think we can put Reliquary Tower back as well. Then we'll play Kodama's Reach to shuffle those cards away. And we'll go for a blue and a green. Green can go in tapped. But apparently we're on a go slow this game, so let's just pass it over again. And we will get rid of... Yeah, let's just get rid of the Mana Crypt. We'll risk it. Someone might deal with Stony Silence, in which case I regret getting rid of Mana Crypt, but chances are we're going to shuffle everything back into the library at some point. Mystic Remora from Bruna, because apparently they're not drawing enough cards. And then SRAM, Senior Edificer. So yeah, even more card draw for them. They won't be able to equip the equipments that they go for, but it might be that they're going for auras with this anyway. And you obviously don't need to equip auras. Shielded by Faith. That is, the enchanted creature has indestructible. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may attach this to it. And then, as I expected, the Containment Priest comes in at us. We are being seen as the biggest threat at the table, which, yeah, is fair enough. And just wondering if the Sen Triplets has anything to do at the end of the turn, but apparently not. So they weren't holding up anything, so just decided to do nothing during their last turn, hoping that they would see our mana drain. A Wrath of God gets rid of the SRAM and the Leonin Sky Hunter, as well as drawing the Bruna a card. Yeah, that seems like a strange Wrath to me. I don't know why they'd be so worried about a SRAM. But if they're just going to have to discard cards anyway, they might as well get rid of a couple of creatures, I suppose. They play a Fetch, which will get them into a couple of zombies. Ornithopter to start things off from the white player. Then a Soul of New Phyrexia. We're going to open the way for a Sen Triplets if we counter that. And we won't be able to get the counterspell back in time. We'll let Sen Triplets down. I want to get the game moving, to be honest. And if that means allowing a Sen Triplets to come down, then so be it. We'll be able to get our commander out with a Soul of New Phyrexia. I'm just going to use the Mana Drain as a ramp spell. Now we get into a board wipe of our own. Alright, Doubling Season. And a Library of Leng, that might be useful. We might be able to go in for Windfall this turn in that case. Let's put Doubling Season and the Blasphemous Act on top. Then we get the 6 mana from the Mana Drain, and I'm going to play Mystic Sanctuary to put the drain on top this turn. So we'll know 3 of the cards that we draw into off of a Windfall. Okay, that successfully jumps back on top, and we will see if we can manage to get our commander out again. Might be that the Sen Triplets player has counter magic. They've drawn a lot of cards, and they are holding up priority, so chances are they do, but they just pass straight through. Okay, so after that we've got 3, 6 and 7 mana. So I think Library of Leng, 2 mana for Mana Drain, and 4 mana, that is Windfall. Yeah, that's alright. So let's go for the Library of Leng. And then we can keep hold of the Soshiro the Anointed and the Dragon Mage if we want to. We get a snake thanks to Mystic Remora. And now let's attempt our Windfall. Sorcerer Plowshares does come from the Bruna player, so that is the second swords we've eaten. And there might be another one over here at some point. So I think more counter magic in this deck. This is the first game that I have played with this deck, so yeah, I think more cheap counter magic and free counter magic ought to be used in this one. Oh, and then it is some more counter magic in Dovin's Veto, so Windfall does go down here. And like I said, I absolutely should have kept hold of the Mana Drain and not gotten rid of the Soul of New Phyrexia, but I just wanted to get the game going, and the game has gotten going now, seemingly. Because I'm assuming that the Esper player is going to do something on their next turn. So no Windfall for us, and no commander. We do still have... Might as well go for Sakura Tribe Elder. We do still have the Mana Drain on top, so I need to not shuffle with the Sakura Tribe Elder. They decide to keep their Mystic Remora in play, and now it is a Hushbringer. Creatures entering or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. So it seems as though this is some kind of Bruna stacks build. Now an Unsettled Mariner with Changeling. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay one. So a tax effect for the stacks player. A couple more zombies being made with a Bloodstained Mire, and then getting into Phage the Untouchable, which I'm hoping they won't be able to give unblockable, although they may well be able to in blue. Anyway, we're not going to block those zombies. We want as many blockers in play as we can have with a Phage the Untouchable in play. And then a Rhystic Study as well, and this is the problem with giving your opponent so much card draw. It's always a risky one. You need to be able to keep your commander in play, really. So I think, yeah, like I've already said, more counter magic in order to keep our Xyris in play. Or maybe focus on doing more different things in the early game and then play our Xyris later on, once people have actually used their counters and removal. Stopping people from playing on our turn would be an idea as well. Leonin Sun Standard now. Creatures you control get +1/+1, so that's just an Anthem effect. Then going for another cat in Ajani's Pridemate. And they do not bother paying the tax for Rhystic Study. I don't really know if the Rhystic tax matters at this point with all the card draw that everyone's gotten thanks to us. Teo making them a wall token. And then we obviously get into the mana drain. And there's the Doubling Season and the Blasphemous Act. I will try the Blasphemous Act, I think. And then we will put... How much mana have we got? Blasphemous Act will be 1. We want 2 for mana drain. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 for a Doubling Season. Yeah, so let's just put that on top. And I'm actually going to pay 4 so that we can shuffle the library because we've got a land on top that we don't want to see again. But I do want to keep all the other stuff. So let's go Prismatic Vista. Oh, actually, we could have shuffled with Sakura Tribe Elder. I probably should have done that. Seeing as how we're going to... we're going to wipe the board anyway. So yeah, let's sacrifice Sakura Tribe Elder. And we've only got one basic left, which we need to keep track of. And now we will go in for our Blasphemous Act and hope it lands. Not going to bother paying the 1 for the Rhystic Study. Well, maybe we do. 5 for the Doubling Season. 2 for the Mana Drain. And there might be something going on from the white player here. Yeah, I think we can pay for Rhystic, actually. Okay, Indestructible there. Not really bothered about their creatures. It's more the Phage the Untouchable that's worrying me at the moment, because I'm assuming the blue player has means of giving it unblockable. And they will get another defender here. Yeah, maybe just the Anointed then at that point. Yeah, I think I'll go for the Anointed. And if people have removal for that, then so be it. And then we'll pay into the Rhystic Study again, and they can take a card when we eventually go for the Mana Drain. We're going to take too much damage when everyone turns in sideways at us, so as much as I'd love to swing in over here, I'm actually going to hold back. And hopefully that will dissuade people from swinging in towards us. I mean, it's only 2 damage here, 2 damage here, although this might go up a little bit. But, yeah, getting peppered away like that, especially when you're taking the odd bit of life from Sylvan Library, you'll soon be down at 0 before you know it. A Mystical Tutor being cast now. There's no lack of card draw over here from the Azorius player. Now it is a Core Spirit Dancer, so apparently it is auras that they've mainly built around. Hyena Umbra going onto the Core Spirit Dancer, and the Shielded by Faith has moved over there as well. Also, they've paid to keep the Mystic Remora this turn. Seems as though the Rhystic Study tax is not being paid for. And then playing a land tax as well. They've got 2, 5, 6, 7 and 8 lands. And I think we've got way more than that, so their land tax will trigger. Now a Fabled Passage being cracked by the Sen Triplets. And then in for a Sol Ring. Then a Thought Vessel will give them no maximum hand size as well. Got 13 cards in their hand at the moment. Bear in mind their Sol Ring and Thought Vessel can't be activated. A Scroll Rack, again, that can't be activated. And now a Supreme Verdict, and that doesn't help us with a Mana Drain in hand. Not the end of the world that we lose this, but I do have this this idea of getting a bunch of snakes into play and then buffing them with this. It's not to be in this heavy removal game. So destroying everything apart from the core Spirit Dancer, which does have Indestructible. Slagworm Armour for the mono white player, the Stony Silence continuing to do a lot of work. Then following things up with a Banshee's Blade and a Loxodon Warhammer. So yeah, pretty much doing what the Sen Triplets player was doing and just playing a bunch of stuff out for the sake of it. They are feeding the other two cards though. And just finishing things off with a wall token from their Planeswalker and passing the turn seemingly. We are going to hold on to Mana Drain for maybe during our turn. I might just go for Dragon Mage and try and look at some new cards. Although we're going to look at new cards here anyway. Alright, we get into Parallel Lives, a Fires of Yavimaya, which I don't think we're going to need this turn, although we do sometimes shuffle our graveyard back in, so maybe it'll come in handy. Bow of Nylea as well. So let's drop the Spire Garden. And we'll see if we can land ourselves. I think our commander's 9 at the moment. Nope, it's actually 11, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So we can play that and hold up Mana Drain. Maybe we just set ourselves up for getting our commander down next turn. So let's go for Doubling Season, because it's more expensive. And I'll pay 1 into the study. Don't think it's all that relevant, but I'm not looking at doing anything too incredible this turn anyway. Then let's get down the bow as well. And we can just hold up the Bow of Nylea as well as the Mana Drain. So we'll have to give our opponent a card with the Rhystic Study. And then I'm hoping that we can get down our commander next turn and within the turn cycle get a bunch of snake tokens into play. All depends on how many board wipes and pieces of spot removal our opponents play. Retether from Bruna. Return each aura from graveyard to battlefield. Only creatures can be enchanted this way. Don't actually know which auras they've got in the graveyard. Well, we'll soon find out. In fact, while we've got counter magic in hand, we're probably best having a look, aren't we? Don't want to be taken by surprise. There's Vanishing. The enchanted creature phases out, which is a lot better now, because you take the attached permanents with you. There's Spirit Mantle as well for protection from creatures. A Totem Armor. There's Daybreak Coronet as well. Yeah, so that's going to be really tricky to get rid of, and I bet it's coming in at us as well. I'll allow it, just in the hope that it doesn't come in towards us. If it does, we'll just have to go back in at them as well. Oh, that jumped up way higher than I thought it was going to. Oh, of course, it's +2/+2 per aura. Forgot about that. Ugh. And with Double Strike, they can take us out here. Okay, thankfully that doesn't bite us this time. Yeah, really should have countered that because I didn't know where they were swinging in. But they are currently swinging in at the Esper player. And now the white player is tapping some mana. I hope they're not going to save this player. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. Oh, come on. This game's been going on for an hour and a half and people are just keeping each other in play left, right and centre. Oh, but then the Esper player decided to scoop anyway, so that's good. Yeah, they should really have waited there until this player gets taken out. Let players go down when they're going to go down, because dragging games out for 3 hours is no fun for anybody. Well, speaking for everybody there, but I assume that's the case. You can let me know in the comments what you think about that. But yeah, Gideon's Triumph. Target opponent sacks a creature that attacked or blocked this turn, so you can wait for them to do the damage first, take a player out, and then cast it. But that's actually a really nice white spell from the mono white player. Greater Auramancy now to make it even more difficult to interact with them. That's not good with the Stony Silence in play. But a part of me kind of wants to keep the Stony Silence in play just to... where is it? Just to keep the Nevermel's Disc switched off. Paradise Mantle. And a Shield of Kaldra. And a Shuko. Yeah, good for the mono white player for playing this out because they've been totally hosed by Bruna. Oh, and that turn cycle took so long that I just passed through it by accident, completely forgot to activate Bow of Nylea. What I would have done there is shuffle some cards back into the library. Don't think it really matters. We put Sylvan Library on the stack first. Gain 2 Echo of Eons. So we've got another wheel at least. And then some lands, a Nylea's Intervention. Let's put a land on top and a land on top. And then we go for the Verdant Catacombs. And we'll have 3 mana held up after we cast our commander. It does have haste. Yeah, and then... yeah, we'll go in for our commander again. I mean, we just have to keep playing into potential counter magic and stuff. The game does need to move along some. And our opponents do know that we have a mana drain, but they may well have forgotten about it by now. And that's noteworthy that the Bruna player has discarded Austere Command. Yeah, anyway, let's go in at the Bruna player. And we'll attempt to get ourselves into 6 snake tokens, thanks to the doubling season. And wouldn't you know it, there's a Path to Exile. I think I'd just like to go for mana drain now, and... yeah, if I wish that I'd held on to it, then so be it, but... just really want to get the game moving at this point, like I've said. So we'll try and keep our commander in play. And is this even more counter magic? Yep, a Dovin's Veto. I mean, we're getting all this stuff out of their hand at least. So I don't mind that. And we'll get to go for the last... I think we've got 1 more basic left. I don't think we've drawn into it. So we can save that Verdant Catacombs for next turn when we want to shuffle stuff from the Sylvan Library. Yeah, there we go. So let's have a look at the forests that we can grab. We have a Stomping Ground, tap land that we can grab. We've got Tropical Island, so we've got both an untapped and a tap land that we can get. And we've seen both Swords and Path to Exile from this player now, so hopefully that's the last of the spot removal that we're going to see this game. Don't think we've seen any from the mono white player though, so they may well have Path and Swords themselves. There we go. What's Bruna done now? Bruna has come down, and it will be able to get all those auras back, don't forget. Staggering Insight has been put on there as well. It has +1/+1 lifelink. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you can draw a card. Yeah, so there's an argument to be made for us going for the, what is it called, the mana drain onto this, but they had Dovin's Veto anyway, so they were always going to land their commander. And now it is a Platinum Angel over here, so yeah, Bruna will be able to hit them as much as they want to. But they've used both of their pieces of spot removal, so I'd like to see the white player get rid of Platinum Angel. Might be that they have some auras that can get rid of artifacts and enchantments, or at least remove the abilities from that. Now, Steel Shaper Apprentice. Return it to its owner's hand, search for an equipment, and put it into your hand. Okay, Cross and Grip, Lotus Cobra. I don't think our life total matters all that much at this point. I think we just need to try and accelerate as best we can, so let's just take 8 here. We're getting towards the end of the game finally. Okay, Vandal Blast, a Perforos. Yeah, if only we'd gotten into the, oh, what is it called? The Locust God. That would have been really good. Anyway, let's get down the Lotus Cobra. I think it's just a case of trying to get a flyer into the air at this point, and then I think we'll hold up Cross and Grip and disallow, and try and keep them from swinging in at us for lethal. So we can discard the Echo of Eons at the end of the turn if we keep 8 cards in hand, so let's get down the Perforos and leave it at that, I think. No, but actually, if we play Perforos, we won't be able to go for Disallow and Cross and Grip. So maybe Fires of Yavimaya instead? Yeah, just in case our opponent... Oh, actually, we're going to need the Fires of Yavimaya, aren't we? If we care about haste. Because this will shuffle the Anger, so... yeah, let's definitely go for that. And then we'll still have haste after we've shuffled. Oh, but the Cross and Grip... forgetting about the fact that their enchantments have Shroud, so we're just going to have to rely on a Disallow to counter Bruna's triggered ability. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't bite us. Could have gone for the Perforos after all, although I don't think it really matters. Oh, and we don't get to discard Echo of Eons. Oh wow, that's a few mistakes in that turn. Yeah, Library of Leng gives you no maximum hand size. Eesh. Yeah, alright. Well, we might be able to get through with our Dragon Mage. Especially if we swing in towards the white player. If they've only got this to block with, 1, they don't want this to die, and 2, they might want to refill their hand and try and get back into the game, so we might still be able to wheel next turn. And I'm sure the Bruna player has more counter magic for us, but they might not swing in at us anyway. Well, no, they are swinging in at us. So let's attempt a disallow. And I'm sure there's going to be counter magic for this. Alright, apparently not. They do pass. So now the question is, do we want to sacrifice this to go for +2/+2 and kill off the Bruna, forcing them to cast it? I think I'd rather just have the wheel, to be honest. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, I mean, they've 13 cards. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's just take the damage. And then I may well go for a Cross and Grip on 2 Greater Auramancy, just for the sake of taking them off Shroud. Yeah, had we been able to discard the Echo of Eons, I think we'd be in a much better position for next turn, so might be that Library of Leng has to come out of here and we just don't get to cherry pick the cards that are in our hand. Now a Mirror Maid coming into play. Let's Cross and Grip on the Greater Auramancy, because it might be that they're trying to give all of their stuff Shroud. Might be that they're going for their own Platinum Angel. I don't really know what their aim is with that, but I was thinking of going for Destruction Magic onto this anyway. So I might as well do it there before they get Shroud on all their enchantments. Alright, it's surprisingly going for a Library of Leng. I didn't see that coming. So they copy that and now going for Replenish, which is exactly what I was worried about. So getting a bunch of stuff onto their Bruna, and we need to take them out during our next turn. Otherwise we're going down to a Bruna. And it's just a bunch more equipment, seemingly. There is also a Crackdown Construct. We need to see an austere command, really, from the white player. But they can easily phase out. And they also have a couple of Totem Armors on here as well. Oh, as well as Indestructible. So, yeah, that isn't going to do us much good. We'll get rid of a Platinum Angel, though. But yeah, not much you're going to do against an Azorius deck in the late game, I don't think. Alright, some more wheels for us. I don't think Strip Mine is going to do anything, so we'll put that on top. Edric is not going to do anything either. Gotten into that way too late, and we haven't been able to keep our snakes in play anyway. You know, we're really not doing anything else. Why don't we just attempt a Time Spiral? We are unfortunately giving our opponent back all the counter magic and spot removal and stuff potentially, but we really need to try and get into something here. And looks like they're countering it anyway. Yep, there's a mana drain. It's just been a really counter magic, board wipe, spot removal heavy game. And yeah, we're just not built to play against stuff like that. So let's attempt, just for the fun of it, an Echo of Eons as well. You never know, we might give the white player something. And it looks as though it's even more counters. Alright, Teferi's Protection. So not a counter spell. Apparently we should have tried the Echo of Eons before going for the Time Spiral. And there we are, there's a Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh, we do have the Skull Clamp available to us now though, don't we? 1 mana off a Cyclonic Rift, that's a shame. Really don't think that there's anything that we're doing here. Just asking my mono white opponent if they've got anything decent in their hand, because if they don't, I'll just wheel again and try and give them a chance to get back into it. Yeah, if we had the mana, this would be an easy one. We'd just go for Cyclonic Rift on our opponent's turn and hope that it gets through, and know full well that it wouldn't. Let's try Time Spiral then. Alright, there's a Hull Breach, which is a sorcery speed thing. We get into a way worse hand there. So, yeah. So in that case, we'll go for another wheel, and we'll swing in at the white player. The white player said that they don't have anything, so we'll try and go in at them and see if we can give them something. even ourselves something with the Dragon Mage. We could actually get into Mana Crypt and... Okay, and then eventually get into the Locust God. I think it is way too late for a Locust God now. Needed that way before now. And Bruna has protection from creatures anyway, I think. Yeah, protection from creatures there with Shroud on it, so there was never anything we were going to do about that. But you've seen what we want to do with the deck, it's just we haven't gotten into any of it quickly enough. Alright, so we will leave it there. Our opponent said that he's got a good hand now. Yeah, let's go for... Are they going to go after the white player if we don't look like a threat? Yeah, we'll try our luck. Let's go for Impact Tremors. If I play the Locust God, they're definitely swinging in at us. And then we might as well... We don't have counter magic, so we might as well put Clamp onto the Dragon Mage. And then we can go for Bow of Nylea, if I actually remember to do it this time. And yeah, I think we have to leave it there. Oh, the Daybreak Coronet hasn't come back. Does this still have double strike? It has double strike still, so we will still go down. Where does it get the double strike from? From this thing, Battle Mastery. Yeah, had it not have been for the double strike there, we'd actually be able to survive this turn because Daybreak Coronet hasn't come back. And it hasn't come back because you can only enchant a creature that's already enchanted. And apparently, if they're all coming in at once, then the Daybreak Coronet doesn't see the auras. Anyway, Draneth Magistrate. Yeah, that stops us getting down our commander. Don't necessarily need it now with the Locust God. But I just don't think we survive until next turn is the problem. We can always hope that the white player has some exile for Bruna. They get down Sage's Reverie onto the... what is that called? Onto SRAM, Senior Edificer. They just cast that. They're up to 15 cards in hand. Then Containment Priest comes back into play. Don't think that's going to be relevant this game. Now, the moment of truth. Where does Bruna swing in? Yeah, they do come in at us, as they probably should. The Equipments player has been switched off. They do have time, though, because they've got the Platinum Angel out, assuming that they don't have removal for that. And we just have to say goodbye. Say good game to our opponents. And apparently the white player did not have removal. So we go down to Bruna. They have gotten out. I missed that. Eldrazi Conscription. And there is a Felidar Umbra as well. And their commander also has Shroud. Enchanted creatures you control have Shroud. That never comes up for me with Greater Auramancy. So, yeah, even if the white player does have spot removal, Bruna can't be targeted, so... it's Mass Exile that the white player needs, and who knows if they actually run Mass Exile or not. Anyway, they're up to 100 life, down to 43 cards in the deck. Exposed to Daylight is going on to the Greater Auramancy, the only thing they can target. That did come back, thanks to them reanimating enchantments from their graveyard, so we did put a Croson Grip on that, but they just got it back immediately. Ajani's Mantra to gain them some life, and then they give it back to Bruna. We'll see if they can deal with that Platinum Angel. A Winds of Abandon can do it. Exile each creature you don't control, and they can get a Plains for each one that you do that with. So there we go. Now, surely they'll just have to swing in for lethal, and that'll be that. Narset, Parter of the Veils, before they decide to swing in. Yeah, and then they just decide to scoop it. That's fair enough. I think all the Bruna player had to do there was turn sideways, but if they're just going to play it out, might as well scoop it. I think we did pretty well there, to be honest, considering how much counter magic and removal and board wipes we ate. Yeah, I think we got going a bit too quickly for them, and they wanted to slow us down, rightly so. But yeah, considering the fact that we were up against 3 white players and 2 blue players, and like I said, eating all the cheap spot removal and counters and stuff, I think we did alright there. I'd like to try this again. I'm not going to start adding a bunch of counter magic to it and stuff because, yeah, I'd like to just have fun with the wheels and draw effects and stuff like that. Buffing all the snakes and all that type of thing. Anyway, hopefully you all got some enjoyment from this. I will be sure to play this deck again and actually try and have it work the way it's supposed to work. That obviously depends on our opponents. But hopefully you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.